Hey, welcome back to my channel. It's Riddle, and I'm going to show you today how I make kale chips, specifically spicy kale chips. I'm eating this one because they're delicious. If you're on a diet, this is a great snack to make to cheat. Another great snack are my dehydrated cocoa bananas, because it tastes like you're eating candy when it's actually just banana. So what you're going to do, you're going to start with your kale. I pick mine fresh from the garden, brag, brag, brag. And you're going to give them a good rinse and allow them to dry or shake the excess moisture off of your kale. You can use any kind of kale. I'm using a roughly kale and this Russian red kale. Then the stems are dense and thick. And so if you put these in a dehydrator in the oven, it's going to take a long time for this to dry versus the leaf. So I basically debone my kale, or remove this larger stems from the leaves. But I try to keep it in as large pieces as possible because it's nice when this dries up to get a big kale chip. Next, after we've removed our leaves from the stems, and I'm going to save these stems. I save all my stems and I cut them into like 2 to 3 inch pieces, and I dehydrate these and turn it into a fine powder. This is like the super green powder that they sell in the store. You can also add it to soups and gravies and flavorings, stir fry, and it just brings in this rich, savory flavor, and of course all the nutrition from your kale. So don't throw anything away. Okay, so now we're going to start making our goo. What you're going to do, you have to have olive oil. The better quality olive oil is, of course, supreme. So I'm going to pour roughly half a cup, a little less than half a cup of olive oil. Sometimes I will play around with my oil and add a little sesame oil or another type of oil for flavor. Depends on your palate. Now this is my famous Chinese chili paste. I learned to make this recipe from my spouse's family, who's Chinese, from Szechuan. You can buy Chinese chili paste at the Chinese market, or you can simply add a half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, or a smoky chipotle is nice, to your olive oil at this point. But I'm going to add a tablespoon of my famous Chinese chili paste, which is a secret recipe, but maybe someday I will prostitute myself and show you how to make it, because it is mind-blowingly delicious. Next, we want to get our salty factor, but you can get your salty factor and make this nutritional at the same time. And how we're going to do this is a product called nutritional yeast. The great thing about nutritional yeast is it's deactivated yeast, so you don't have to worry about it if you're gluten-free or trying to avoid yeast in general. But do your own research. But nutritional yeast is full of vitamin B. So we're adding an additional amazing nutritional compound to our thing. How much? To taste. I like it cheesy, because that's what this does. It adds this like cheese-like flavor to it. Next, you will add your salt to taste. Now there's a lot of things out there now that say that salt, that you have to have iodized salt for the body, blah 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 blah. I like the flavor and I like the natural minerals in sea salt, so I'm just going to use this pink sea salt. And ultimately, I'm going to put about, for this many leaves, which is roughly 3 to 4 cups, I'm going to put about a half a teaspoon, 3/4 of a teaspoon of sea salt to my mix. Then we're going to mix that up, and it's going to make like a oily paste. Now this is going to get really interesting because I have to do this with one hand. So I'm going to go over here, I'm going to push my stuff out of the way, and I'm going to grab my tray. So I have a really basic dehydrator. It's great, it's inexpensive. They just had them on sale online for 20 bucks. I would have actually bought another one for that price, but I missed the sale. I'm not sure what they're running right now, but the name brand is the Nesco American Harvest. It's very basic, doesn't use too much electricity, and I love it. I have friends that buy the most expensive dehydrators and then they never use them, and it sits on the shelf, and this does the same job. So next what we're going to do is not soak, but we're going to massage our mixture on both sides of our leaf. Again, you don't want this sopping with the oil and the flavor. Just take some time to work it into the leaf as best you can, like so. And then we're going to put that on our dehydrator. And you don't have to space these out too terribly. I really pile them up on each other because piling them up on they dehydrate so quickly once you debone them that you can kind of pile them up and you don't have to worry about them not drying thoroughly, because it's just the leaf of our greens, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Now your next question, you're going to say, how long is this going to take to fully dry? That's the key. You really want to make sure that your leaves are completely dry. So it's going to depend on a lot of things. It's going to depend on how hot your dehydrator is. It's going to depend on the heat and humidity where you live or on the day that you're doing this. And so a guesstimate is check it in about 2 to 3 hours and see where it's at. And don't rush it. Sometimes when things are hot, like when they come out of the dryer, it'll feel like it's dry, and then once it turns room temperature, it's still actually a little moist. So just be careful, because if you don't dehydrate these thoroughly and you stick them in a Ziploc bag, they're going to mold and they're going to get nasty. So you want it, of course, to have a nice crunch to it. And that's how you know it's dry, because it just comes apart like that and it's very crunchy. And that's it. And these are, I mean, outstanding. I have friends that are huge carnivores, and I took some of these to a barbecue, and my friend was like, "Ooh, kale chips," like he's gonna vomit. And he tasted one and he went nuts. And I think it's because of the spicy, salty element from the nutritional yeast and the pepper. But these are the munch, and packed full of nutrition. So I'm getting ready for winter. You should too. If you like my videos, please subscribe, it helps. Take care. Take care of each other. Bye.